yesterday for, what else? Star Trek, the motion picture. It is, I hear, an absolutely outstanding movie. And who, of course, would command that picture? Mr. William Shatner. Come on.
Isn't that wild? Thank you.
I heard that on the news. The people have been lining up for 40...
They're camping out on the streets. They've been there for days, in line. The box office all over the country is just formed and reformed.
That's beautiful.
They're playing in 1,000 theaters all across the country.
Opens today, doesn't it?
It opens as we speak. It is playing for the first time.
Come on, Christy. Well, I know what's coming.
I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen? When did you see it?
I saw it last night for the first time at the big opening. They had a
Where?
huge, in Washington, D.C. They had a big Hollywood-type opening in Washington, and they're so accustomed to stopping traffic and putting searchlights up, because, you know, that's the place where it goes. They had this thing organized like if the military was as well organized. Paramount had 20 people and 15 limousines going back and forth. The police were stopping traffic. The searchlights were going. And it was a movie playing downtown. You know.
But did you have a lot of politicians there with you?
A lot of politicians showed up. A lot of people from Congress and the senators were all shaking hands and saying, take your picture and the thing. And it was an incredible happening. I'd never been a part of anything like that. It was an experience of a lifetime. In fact, you know, this was a job. You know, we did a movie, and it was just a nice, good job. But it's turned out to be an extraordinary happening in the lifetime of my lifetime. I was on tour for a week in cities, Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia, New York for 3 days.
Setting up, promoting the film?
Yeah, you know, talking on TV shows and saying Star Trek's coming. I hadn't seen the picture.
Weren't you a little embarrassed? No, because you knew what stuff.
Well, I mean, yeah, but still, but I guess I felt, you know, priests and ministers and rabbis all say, you know, God's going to get you if you don't, you know. They haven't seen God.
They haven't?
I don't know anybody who has. Do you?
Our piano player did last night.
That's right.
Is he the guy that's taking the plane to Columbia?
No, he's going without the plane, I believe. Yeah. I mean, now, you know, I did Hogan's, which went 6 years. Now, Star Trek was 3 years, that's all. How many episodes? 100 and what?
79 episodes. 79 hours.
Now, if you were going to do a picture about Star Trek, obviously, shouldn't have been 5, 6 years ago?
Again, the phenomena of show business. There's this series that was canceled, and 10 years later, they make this enormous motion picture. In that intervening 10 years, it was played on syndicated television, and it grew in popularity. For the first 6 or 7 years, you know, I was working at other things. I didn't know what was happening.
This is true that Fred told me today. He said, I watch it now. It comes on, and I watch it, and you're getting a whole new audience that you...
The rerun generation comes in. People see it. They start to watch it again.
What that picture cost?
The picture that is in release is open today.
Star Trek, the motion picture.
A multitude of millions of dollars.
Well, come on, but I've heard all kinds of figures.
Give me a figure.
Well, I've heard 40 million.
That's pretty good.
$40 million?
Help is hard to get these days.
$40 million. I could have bought Guam. We'll be back right after this with William Shatner.
And we're back into the status quo.
More money for an admiral?
More responsibility. It weighs so heavily on one.
Answer the question. Are you getting more money?
Yes, I'm getting more money.
You have a little piece of that picture, do you? As we say, a point or...
A point.
Yeah, meaning a
here
little...
and there, this little... I mean,
I like to... Listen, I've loved you, and you're a marvelous actor, and you've been there a long time. I would love you to have a little piece of all the great, because the review that came out today that I saw absolutely was a rave.
Yeah, a lot of people like it. It's a lot of reviewers are...
Well, so do you have a point? Let us know.
You did ask me that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an abiding interest.
That's what you should have. Because I know at one time, about 4 or 5 years ago, I saw you on a talk show where you were saying they're never going to get this movie going, and I don't even know if I want to do it, you said.
Well, that was absolutely true.
That's when I tested. They said I was too tall. But you would have died if someone else had done it.
Well, that was really the reason I said I would do it finally. Ultimately, the studio came to me at one point and said, would you do the movie Star Trek? And I said, well, show me a script. I said, we don't have a script. I want to see if we can get the cast. And I said, well, it was a catch-22 situation.
Yeah.
And finally I said, I can't see this going on without me. I just have to do it. So I said I would do it script unseen. And this is the result.
Well, in the review today, there honestly was 2 columns talking nothing about except the special effects and how new barriers have been broken.
Doug Trumbull and John Dykstra.
Didn't those gentlemen do
it was Close
Star
Encounters,
Wars
Star Wars.
and Close Encounters?
Doug Trumbull, these are consummate artists. In fact, it's an enviable thing. You think about those special effects people. They have to be artists. They have to paint and know concepts. And then they have to be mechanics to make the things work. And then they have to be cinematographers to photograph it in the right perspective. And they have to tell a story, because you say, and then a cloud of great danger comes by. You know, I mean, it's just something in the script. Whatever it is, the description is, they've got to make it happen.
Well, now, do we have the clip of it?
Well, I don't know whether you have special effects or not, but you have a clip.
Oh, it is not special effects. Well, all right, let's see it. Can we see it? This is the clip of the brand new motion picture. I want to see it. Because I hear they are great. Here we go.
I'm taking over the center seat.
You're what?
I'm replacing you as captain of the Enterprise. You'll stay on as executive officer. Temporary grade reduction to commander.
You personally are assuming command?
Yeah.
May I ask why?
My experience. 5 years out there dealing with unknowns like this. My familiarity with the Enterprise, its crew.
Admiral, this is an almost totally new Enterprise. You don't know her a tenth as well as I do.
That's why you're staying aboard. I'm sorry, Will.
No, Admiral. I don't think you're sorry. Not one damn bit. I remember when you recommended me for this command. You told me how envious you were and how much you hoped you'd find a way to get a Starship Command again. Well, sir, it looks like you found a way.
Report to the bridge, Commander. Immediately.
Aye, sir.
The other actor, his name is Steve Collins. Wonderful, wonderful actor playing the part of executive officer at the time.
Well, you were as cold, as ruthless as ever. You know, a guy thought he had a biggie going there, and you became...
He kept sitting in that seat. That's my seat. You know, Star Trek has kind of taken me by storm, let alone the country. It's crept up on me after these years of doing that series. And there were times when I thought, hey, I'm not Captain Kirk. I'm
Well, that's it. Did you ever think that, wow, I'm getting swallowed up here, and they're not? They don't see me? I mean, Andersonville trials, you did Judgment at Nuremberg.
I've done a lot of work, and I've done a lot of things in the intervening years. And there were times when I did feel kind of irked at the identification. And then somebody contacted me. I'd like to tell you the story because it made everything that I might have felt seem cheap by comparison, and I'll never feel that way again. A man was driving me, as a matter of fact, to Paramount, and he turned around and he said, I want to tell you something. I begged to get on this driving assignment because I wanted to meet you. He said, I felt for years now compelled to tell you this. I was in the special services in Vietnam. He said, I trained for years. I was a black belt in karate, and I went over to Vietnam. For 6 months, I fought in the war, and I was captured, and I was in a Viet Cong jail for 2.5 years, along with 10 other men. He said, anything you may have seen in Deer Hunter or Apocalypse Now is nothing compared to what I had gone through. He said there were 10 men who were in different states of the Union, different socioeconomic levels. We had nothing in common except one thing: we loved Star Trek. And he said, we played a Star Trek game. The Viet Cong were the Klingons, the enemy. One of us would be Captain Kirk, another would be Mr. Spock, and we'd try and remember the episodes, dialogue by dialogue. Somebody would remember another line, another line, and they'd play this game. And he said the only thing that kept us sane, the only thing that when we had water up to our necks for a week, when we were bound hand and foot in a fetal position and for a week and then released, and we would know the pain was going to come and we were driven mad, the only thing that kept us alive was playing a Star Trek game. And I'd come out of that, he said, and come to this job, and I've been looking for you for a long time.
That was the day you realized that playing Captain Kirk.
That's the way, when I realized that's an extraordinary event in an actor's life, you know.
That is.
Yeah.
Boy, all I've got to offer anybody is, can you top this? We'll be back right after a message from one of our sponsors. That is exciting. I'm Shatner, and I know that you're leaving us because you're going to Washington, right?
I just flew in and I'm
flying out at all. After this, when we'll go to the movies to see Star Trek the motion picture, what will we see in next?
I've just finished a motion picture with Hal Holbrook called The Kidnapping of the President. That'll be out in the spring of the summer.
Okay. And a book that I picked up, which is an authorized biography of Bill here. It's called Shatner, Where No Man. And I must tell you, it will tell you things about him, and I've known you, I think, for about 11, 12 years. I'm surprised at you with some of these things. Good luck with you. You're a winner, and I know the picture will be.
Thanks.
Mr. William Shatner, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Billy.
Okay.